What is up, everyone? Welcome back. In today's video, we'll be talking about if you should buy the Resident Evil 4 remake or the original. And for we'll be weighing the cons and the pros. So let's talk about why you would want to buy the original Resident Evil. So one of them, I guess, is just nostalgia for people who'd want to play an original Resident Evil game. But other than that, let's talk about some things that are in the original but not in the remake. One thing is the gun called the Mind Thrower, where it's removed. Well, technically, there's a gun in the remake that has the same type of thing, but it doesn't really count because you have to craft 2 items and then combine them. So, yeah, they got rid of a gun, and there's some other minor changes to the bosses, like Salazar in Resident Evil 4. When I say Resident Evil 4, I'm talking about the original, and if I say remake, But he cannot move. He just has a big arm and an insta-kill attack. And in the remake, he can spit out goo, which basically does the same thing that the arm does, and has an insta-kill attack. Sounds like there's nothing that different. But in the original, he was stationary, and in the remake, he can move. So, yeah, so the boss is a little harder in the remake, and another change in a boss fight is that, the boss I'm talking about, the one everybody loved. Oh, you 3, a super fun boss fight. I loved it. Wait, what do you mean it's not in the remake? And wait, what's that? Some people say that Separate Ways counts, but you're paying $10 for it when in the original it was free, so it doesn't count? Huh. Yeah, they removed U3 and they made a similar one in Separate Ways, but in the remake you have to pay for it. And I'll do another video on if it's worth it to buy it in the remake. Yeah, so another thing that changes that is the dialogue, and one thing that if you are so desperate on hearing Leon flirt for whatever reason, you psycho. But yeah, he doesn't flirt in the remake. He only flirts in the original. And there's some dialogue, which I'll tell you where some of it takes place, but there's a lot that will make this video a little longer. So the remake changed the recap a little bit, and by that I mean they added stuff. And the car ride, they changed like a small detail, so that wasn't really big. And they also changed the enemies' sounds. And one thing is they removed Luis saying some stuff, but no matter which one you buy, you still get to hear this wonderful dialogue.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Where's everyone going? Bingo? One of my favorite catchphrases, or one-liner by Leon. But yeah, so in the original, I guess, if you want unchanged or a little bit more offensive, I guess, go for the original. But now let's talk about some cons. One, the camera angle is a little hard to move around. It's not bad per se, but it's like not as easy as in the remake. 2, the graphics. I know, a shocker. But then there's some more small ones that we don't really need to talk about, because you won't really notice that much of a difference. And another thing, in the original, you can shoot the merchant. Now, I just loved shooting the merchant. And, yeah, that's totally not going to come up again. But now let's talk about a couple reasons why you would want to get the remake. So 1, the beginning is, well, the house is a little bigger, so, you can explore a bit more before fighting your first enemy. And then you get to go into the basement. So, and then the enemy comes back, which it doesn't in the original. So I'd say that in the remake, it's a little more scary in the beginning if, it's a horror game. So I think that's what most people would be looking for, but I could be wrong. And another thing you can do that is, technically you could do it in the original was parry, but in the original it had to be perfect. You can be a little more flimsy in the remake is how I'll say it. And and I'll compare it to, let's say, if you play professional mode on the remake. That's how on point you had to be, even a little more on point. But yeah, so pairing's a lot easier too. The graphics are better. I know, a big shocker. And Luis is still funny as ever. And after getting knocked out, you lose your stuff, which in the original you don't. And you learned how to stealth kill, which you couldn't do in the original. But I'd say it was a good way to learn how to stealth kill. Because, you know, if you didn't have your stuff, you'd probably shoot them if you didn't know about stealth kills. And, also, then you meet the merchant. And, wait, I can't shoot him? What do you mean? This is an outrage. I mean, I guess now you can't shoot him. Remember, shoot, I forgot to buy so-and-so. So it's a plus and a con. But then you reach the church, and in the remake, it takes a little longer to get the key because you have to do more puzzles than. Because in the original, you just had to kill a boss fight that didn't really change in the remake. And then just after going through, you got the key, you head back, you had a boss fight. And then in the remake, though, you do all that plus 2 puzzles that I just ended up looking up. But it only takes like an extra 10 minutes, but, you know, still a little extra long. And then we meet Ashley. And you know how the remake so far has seemed to make things harder? Well, now it's made things a little easier. It's made it so Ashley no longer has a health bar. So if you want to juggle 2 health bars, go for the original. But if you don't like to juggle 2 health bars, then I'd say go for the remake. But there is one thing. They replace the health bar with sit there and do nothing until Leon comes and asks if she's okay. And then she'll be like, yeah, I'm okay. Freaking Ashley. Yeah, but, so then other than that, there's not that much difference, except the U3 boss fight was removed. You know, my favorite. It wasn't my favorite boss fight, but it was removed. So, yeah, if you were really looking forward to the U3 boss fight, yet again, original. But if you're fine with paying $10 for something similar but not as well, then get Separate Ways in the remake. Yeah, but I think that's a win for the remake temporarily. But yeah. So better graphics, you know, that's everything that we need to talk about. So now to answer the question, do you get the original or the remake? Now, it depends on if you would rather have a little easier game with a little more offensive dialogue that Capcom decided they now hate, or if you want a harder experience, which with some benefits of being easier. So, to answer the question, it depends. But if I were you, I'd go with the remake. But, you know, you want a slightly easier experience, you know, original. But that is the end of this video. I hope you liked it. And make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. On to not the end card, because I don't do that anymore.